If I could go back in time, this is what I would tell my 20-year-old self. Number one, life is long. You have time to mess up, try things, fail, and get better at things. Whether it's your craft, your career, your personality, relationships with people.
Slow down.
And of course, your investing path. I used to constantly feel lost because I didn't know who I wanted to be and what I wanted to do in my mid-20s.
Who am I? I don't know.
I've now learned how silly that feeling is. It's hard to be an expert at anything when you're that young, including figuring out who you are. And if you're in your 20s, you might know this feeling. You want to have all the answers, you think you know everything, yet for some of us, we still don't know where we're going in life. The uncertainty can be daunting, but I promise you it's completely natural. I follow Gary Vaynerchuk, and he stresses the concept that you can completely mess up until you're 30 years old, and I completely agree with this. Life is long, you have time, and America is really forgiving. At 30 years of age for me, I just graduated a PhD program, I had a lot of debt, and I just got my first really crappy job. Lucky enough, my coworkers were a little older and wiser than me, and they stressed investing, so I started investing early.
Lucky.
But it was rough for a few years. But since then, I became a dad, I developed a photography business, and became a YouTuber, all while building 2 other businesses and getting pretty good at investing.
Well, there's something you don't see every day.
If you're getting a new degree, or you just got your first job, that probably won't be your last one. You might work in 4 or 5 different fields throughout your life. Feel free to try stuff, go for it, and learn what it's like to fail. A friend of mine, Tim Kite from Focus 3, has worked with professional sporting teams and businesses for over 40 years, and he stresses the concept of failing faster. Get your failures out of the way so you can progress to something amazing. Number 2, you have to have extreme patience. Whether it's developing your career or investing, it might take you a while. Hell, it might take you a decade. When you start something new, it's incredibly exciting. The challenge is taking those difficult next steps to keep going. Go to that training seminar. Shadow a professional that you admire. Working hard coupled with patience can go a long way. We are all challenged to get off our ass and do something. The people who do more win more.
Oh.
Whether it's swinging a bat, hitting a golf ball, doing math equations, Malcolm Gladwell's concept of getting 10,000 hours in really speaks to me. As I reflect on the past decade, it took me over 10,000 hours to get good at some things, and I could have used some more patience to get there. But if I need 10,000 to be an expert in my field, I need to focus on the next hour. And the quicker I get 10,000 done, the better off I'll be. Again, none of this will happen overnight. So you gotta have patience. And you can take this one step further to your investments. You probably have friends who talk about making money on Bitcoin, the meme stocks like GameStop and AMC, but that's not normal. They were extremely lucky, and it's dangerous to think it can happen to everybody. You have to patiently and consistently invest and know that in 40 years, you're gonna have a huge nest egg to retire on, and the Everything Money software can help you along the way. Number 3, set realistic expectations. You are probably not gonna be a millionaire in your 20s, but you can start setting yourself up to be one. If you can avoid getting in credit card debt, you'll be ahead of a zillion people in their 20s. I had it, a lot of my friends had it, and it's crushing. If you can save anything and start saving early, it'll do a world of difference in your life. You're probably gonna have to work really friggin' hard over the next 10 years. You'll probably be the low man on the totem pole, that job that might suck, doing chores that are beneath you. And you might not get paid what you think you're worth.
$6. It's like $1 an hour.
But as author Brent Gleason says, you gotta try to embrace the suck. After getting my PhD, I hit the job market during the 2008 market crash. It was a terrible cubicle job, and I'm glad I'm out of it. But I developed a photography business and honed my skills. I always wanted success, I wanted more and more, but looking back, if I would have had more patience and set reasonable expectations, it would have been a nicer ride. But what did help me was my network of connections, which is tip number 4, make good connections. People used to tell me it's not what you know, it's who you know, and I thought that was total bullcrap. I grew up in an age where we overemphasized college and getting degrees. Sometimes we were the first kids to go to college in our family. So I was overeducated, went to college for 10 years, and in the end, I got stuck not really knowing anybody. My network was small, and I pigeonholed myself into a crappy job. But 20 years later, it's all of these amazing connections that have completely transformed my life, and not the book knowledge I thought was so important. Meeting Paul and other successful business owners gave me interesting opportunities to start new businesses, partner with people in businesses, and learn from the best. Introduce yourself to more people, make their lives the subject of conversations, and you'd be amazed how many people you could meet, some of which may be your future business partners. If you're in college, join clubs and participate in class. Learn from your professors and peers. There's tons of badasses out there, you just gotta meet them. I can't stress this enough. People love talking about themselves, so my life completely changed when I just started asking more questions about the people around me, and sure enough, my network of connections expanded. All this leads to tip number 5 is, I wish I would have put myself in a position to be lucky, but you can do this. You can't control whether or not you get lucky, but you can be ready when your lucky break comes. This can happen in a variety of ways, so you gotta be ready. Luck is a combination of having a great opportunity and being ready to seize it. For example, I'm absolutely prepared, I'm talented, but I have no network of connections to ever give me a shot, so I'm not gonna get lucky. Or the other side is wealthy business owners are calling me for my work, but I'm simply not talented or ready enough to perform it. Or the worst one is I'm too scared to go out on a limb to take a chance, or I literally don't even know if this is my lucky break. Especially in your 20s, you can take those chances. Be more creative, be more courageous, try things, and don't be afraid to fail. You're probably gonna fail anyway, so you might as well go for it. Paul and I reconnected at a Cleveland Cavs game 5 years ago. He needed a photographer and videographer to go document his Mexican mansions, and sure enough, I was talented enough and ready to go. That was my lucky break, and it developed into everything money, which is a great segue into tip number 6. You have to invest now. If you're like me, you probably never discussed money with your parents. Money, savings, and salary was a secretive, taboo thing we just never talked about. Not talking about money in your daily life can set you back decades in terms of your savings and your retirement, and it's probably costing you millions. Actively discussing money with everyone around me was a complete game changer, and I wish I knew this earlier. It helped my businesses, it made more businesses, the communication with my wife, it all got easier when we opened up and discussed this thing we are all chasing. Now my 2 young children have savings account that they actively contribute to, and they love the concept of buying stocks and saving for something great. Becoming wealthy is not a bad thing, even though we tend to vilify all these wealthy people in the news. Becoming wealthy can allow you to start businesses and employ families for generations. It can do better for the world and put your family in a position for some great opportunities. You can pay for that overpriced college your kid wants to go to. You can donate all the money to your church, whatever you want. Money can solve a lot of problems, and you shouldn't feel bad if you want to try and make it. This channel started out as Paul and I talking in a room, and we now employ 14 people. So if you haven't seen these numbers, they're baffling. If we look here in the Everything Money Retirement Calculator, simply saving $6,000 a year from the age of 25 to 65, it can grow to over $2.8 million. But you've only actually contributed $240,000 over these 40 years. And if you're lucky to start when you're 20 years of age, you could have $4.6 million. So those are my tips. If this intrigues you and you want to watch more, check out this video where I talk about opening a Roth IRA and how it can transform your retirement. The money you put in is after tax, meaning that the money grows and compounds tax-free.